In a world absolutely overflowing with information, tools, just stuff. The real challenge isn't finding resources anymore, is it? It's knowing which ones actually work for what you need.
It really is. Um, it's less about just grabbing everything and more about, strategically picking and using things in a way that genuinely helps students learn.
And that's exactly what we're diving into today. Our mission is to navigate this huge, sometimes kind of overwhelming landscape of materials and resources for teaching English as a foreign language EFL. We want to pull out the key insights to help you, our listener, figure out not just what's out there,
Hmm.
but more importantly, how to choose them, how to get creative with them, and really squeeze the most impact out of them in your classroom.
Yeah, we'll sort of group them, starting with the absolute must-haves, the things you really can't do without then looking at resources that complement those, and finally the really cool nice-to-have that can make a big difference.
And the core idea we really want you to take away from this deep dive, it's not about having all the materials under the sun.
Definitely not.
What truly matters is what you do with them, how you make them work.
Precisely. It's about methodology, isn't it? Not just owning a stack of resources.
So let's kick things off with the absolute foundation, the things you absolutely need. First up, the classic blackboard or whiteboard. You see it everywhere.
That's right. Chalk or markers, it doesn't matter. The basic uses are timeless, right? Writing key info, new words, fixing mistakes, maybe just the date and what you're doing today.
Yeah, but the whiteboard might seem simple, but here's something really interesting I found. Getting students up to use the board, it's not just an activity. It's a bit of a psychological boost.
Ah,
It gives them a sense of ownership.
yeah.
It stops being just the teacher space and becomes a shared learning area that can really lift their confidence and get them involved. And practically simple things like dividing the board date here, agenda here, homework there,
Yeah.
using big, clear letters, maybe giving handouts too. It all helps.
Right, so the whiteboards are Canvas.
Yeah.
But what about the structure? Traditionally, that's been the textbook, hasn't it? Though we should say it is technically optional. The real skeleton is your course program.
Oh, absolutely. But let's be honest, especially if you're just starting out, a decent textbook, it's a lifesaver.
Mhm.
Think of the planning time it saves. You're not building everything from scratch every single day. That's huge.
Absolutely huge.
Yeah.
And beyond saving prep time, it gives students something concrete, a coherent path. It often offers methodological tips for the teacher, and it's, a handy review tool for learners. Plus, modern textbooks are often these big packages now.
Yeah, with CDs, websites, visual aids.
Exactly. All sorts of extras. It's quite different from maybe 10, 20 years ago.
But like anything, textbooks get criticized. People say they don't always fit every learning style or they focus too much just on the language, not the whole person.
Right. And there's the Anglo-centric criticism heavily leaning on UK or US culture.
Yeah, that one comes up a lot. Or the language isn't quite natural, or it might even have stereotypes sometimes, and some teachers feel like it boxes them in, makes them just follow a script.
Which is interesting because so many experienced teachers don't just follow the script. They use it as a springboard.
Right. They adapt things, skip bits, add their own activities to match their students.
Exactly. So how do you figure out if a textbook is any good, especially if it's one you have to use? There's a really neat three-step evaluation process from McDonough, Shaw, and Masuhara. Think of it like inspecting a car. First, the external check cover, contents page, quick flip through.
Okay.
Then you go internal, really dig into a few units. How does it actually teach reading? How does it present grammar? What are the activities like?
Makes sense.
And finally, the overall view. Is it easy to use? Can you adapt it? Does it fit your situation? It helps you understand its goals, even if you didn't choose it.
That's a really practical framework. And speaking of practical tips, don't forget the teacher's book.
Ah, yes, the hidden gem.
It really is, often packed with detailed lesson plans, extra practice, ideas for students who finish early. Publishers put a lot into those.
They really do. Okay, moving on. Visual aids. Super important, especially for visual learners. And it's way more than just flashcards. We're talking about posters, realia, things you make yourself, photos, charts.
And infographics are huge now, aren't they?
Oh, definitely. They're a great modern way to show complex info visually. Students have to interpret them, graphs, stats, trends, and then talk about what they see. It sparks real communication.
I love that. And then you mentioned realia. Can you unpack that a bit?
Sure. Realia are just real-world objects. Simple things. A piece of fruit, a train ticket, a menu from an English-speaking cafe, a map.
Ah, okay. Everyday stuff.
Exactly. Bringing these into class creates this authentic, immersive feeling. You wouldn't believe how engaged students can get trying to figure out a genuine bus timetable.
Ah, I can imagine.
Suddenly, language has a real purpose. You can use them for info gaps, role plays, loads of things. It connects the classroom to the outside world.
So we've covered visuals, but language is obviously also about sound. Audio players,
Oh.
absolutely crucial.
You need that authentic audio input. Different accents, natural conversations. It's vital for listening skills. Now, yeah, if you have a computer, a separate CD player might be redundant,
True.
but the ability to play audio easily, non-negotiable. Most textbooks come with recordings anyway.
Right. And the last essential, dictionaries.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fundamental for learner autonomy. Getting students into the habit of looking words up themselves instead of always asking you. That's a massive step towards independence.
So bilingual versus monolingual, what's the thinking there?
Well, bilingual dictionaries can be good for lower levels, sort of as a bridge. But as soon as they're ready, monolingual ones, especially proper learners' dictionaries, are generally better.
Why is that?
They give simpler definitions, info on grammar, example sentences, and students learn more vocabulary just by reading the definitions. Plus, honestly, they're often more accurate for nuances than a direct translation might be.
Okay, that makes sense. So that's our foundational toolkit. Now let's expand a bit into the complementary resources. These aren't maybe strictly essential day-to-day, but they can really add value.
Right. First up, things like extra printed activities and graded readers. Worksheets you photocopy or print from the internet. Lots of teachers do this to tailor things or add extra practice.
And graded readers, simplified books at different levels, those are amazing, aren't they? The benefits seem huge.
Oh, massive. And often underestimated. They build learner independence, massively increase the amount of understandable English students get, boost vocabulary, help writing, and, maybe most importantly, they can actually get students to enjoy reading in English.
Yeah, just having a selection available, maybe in a classroom library corner, letting students choose what interests them, that's powerful motivation.
Absolutely. Then we have authentic materials. These are things taken directly from English-speaking sources, totally unedited for learners.
Like newspaper articles, websites, songs, movie clips.
Exactly. They're vital for getting students ready for the real world, exposing them to up-to-date language, slang, cultural references, stuff you don't always find in textbooks.
That's such a key point. But here's the big question. How do you use something genuinely real without completely overwhelming beginners?
That is the question, isn't it? And it comes down to careful adaptation.
Yeah.
You don't want to simplify it so much that it loses its authenticity, but you need to provide support.
Yeah, scaffolding, right.
Precisely. For written texts, maybe add a title or photo if there isn't one, pre-teach key vocabulary, add a glossary, maybe simplify some really complex sentences, or shorten it slightly.
Okay. And for audio or video?
Give them a clear reason to listen or watch a specific task. Provide context beforehand, but try not to over-explain every single word. Let them grapple with it a bit, then guide them. The goal is accessibility without losing the real-world feel.
I like that scaffolding, not diluting. Okay, moving to something more hands-on. Arts materials. Colored pencils, scissors, glue, old magazines.
Yeah, these are fantastic for tapping into visual and kinesthetic learning styles. It leads to really creative, communicative tasks. Students designing posters, making brochures for a school event, illustrating a poem.
And it's not just about fun, is it? There's a memory aspect, too.
There definitely can be. That multisensory engagement, seeing, doing, talking it, can help lodge the language in their memory more effectively.
Cool. Next up, video players, another powerful tool.
Hugely powerful. Video grabs attention, right? Visuals, sound, movement. It shows language in action, provides models of communication, both native speakers and successful learners.
And sources are everywhere now. Textbook packages, streaming sites, YouTube, even quick clips on social media.
Yeah, loads of options. The key is choosing carefully, right level, interesting topic, and usually keeping it short. Short, focused clips often work better than long videos where attention can wander.
And what about subtitles? Always a debate there.
It really depends on your goal. If it's purely listening practice, maybe avoid them initially. Let students rely just on their ears. But if you're focusing on vocabulary or checking comprehension afterwards, subtitles can be very helpful. It's about using them strategically.
Right. Makes sense. Okay, the digital world. Computers, projectors, online tools. Let's start with the computer itself in the classroom.
The possibilities are almost endless, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's your audio player, your video player, your instant research tool with online dictionaries and encyclopedias.
Yeah, and great for students who finish early. They can do extra online exercises or research.
Exactly. Plus, students can use them to create things, presentations, documents, maybe even simple websites or blogs for projects.
And pairing that with a projector and screen, that changes the whole dynamic.
Absolutely. Suddenly, everyone can see the video, watch a demonstration of software, or view a presentation together. Presentations themselves can be a great way to modernize lessons and save you time writing everything on the board.
Good point. Though, a word of warning there, death by PowerPoint is real.
Huh? Yes. Same rules apply as for good whiteboard, really. Keep slides clean, use bullet points, legible font, good contrast. Don't just put massive blocks of text up for them to read. It has to support the lesson, not be the lesson.
Well said. Beyond the hardware, what about things like email and online platforms?
Huge potential there. Basic email allows for easy communication, sending homework, students submitting work digitally. Just using the target language for these simple, real-world tasks is valuable.
And it opens up global connections, right? Like online pen pals.
Exactly. Linking your class with students in another country. That provides incredibly authentic motivation for communication. It brings the language to life in a way drills can't.
Okay, and finally in this complementary section, educational software.
Yeah, there's a huge range. Some ties in with specific textbooks, some is generic skills practice, lots of great free resources online from places like the BBC or British Council, and paid programs too.
And the advantage is flexibility.
Big time. You can often set it up for individual practice, pair work, or even group activities on a projector. It adapts to different needs and classroom setups.
All right, great overview of those complementary tools. Now let's move into the extras. The nice-to-haves that, if you have access to them, can be really transformative.
Okay. First up, display boards, like a cork board or magnetic board in the classroom or hallway.
How do they transform things?
Well, they create a visible English space.
Yeah.
You can put up cultural info, student work, which is hugely motivating, maybe info about exchange programs or English language events. It makes the language feel present and relevant outside of just lesson time. It builds community.
I like that. Okay, next, board games. You mentioned these briefly.
Yes, fantastic for genuine communication. Suddenly, students need the language to play, to negotiate, to win. It shifts the focus from learning English to using English to do something fun.
Any specific examples you'd recommend?
Oh, classics like Scrabble are great for vocab. Battleship is good for numbers and letters. Taboo is brilliant for circumlocution, talking around a word you don't know.
Ah, a really useful skill.
Absolutely. And something like the game of life can practice everyday situations and phrases.
You know what sounds really cool? Getting students to make their own board games.
Oh, that's a fantastic activity.
Yeah.
Designing the board, writing the rules, making question cards, it involves so much language practice, teamwork, creativity, and a bit of healthy competition when they play each other's games.
Yeah, I bet they'd remember those lessons. Okay, another potential asset. A foreign language assistant. Or FLA.
Right. These are usually young native speakers, often on a year abroad, who come into schools to help out. If you can get one, they're incredibly valuable.
How so?
They provide a real live person for students to talk to in English.
Yeah.
It's authentic interaction. They offer insights into their culture, current slang, native pronunciation, things you just can't replicate perfectly from a textbook or recording.
And they can help out in class, too, like an extra pair of hands.
Definitely. Assisting with group activities, doing one-on-one conversation practice. And this is important, they're usually not trained teachers.
Oh.
So you shouldn't expect them to explain complex grammar or manage the whole class alone. Your job is more to facilitate their interaction, make the most of their native speaker input.
So maybe ask them to give a short talk about their hometown or lead a simple conversation routine each time they visit.
Exactly. Cultural presentations, reading stories, joining group discussions, maybe helping with pronunciation drills, lots of ways to integrate them effectively.
Cool. What about connecting with a whole school abroad? A twin school?
That takes the pen pal idea to another level. It provides sustained, authentic reasons for communication and really builds intercultural understanding. It can be simple email exchanges or quite elaborate joint projects.
Any examples of a project?
Well, the sources mentioned one where classes started with emails, then shared PowerPoint presentations about their towns, then exchanged local recipes, and finally made video messages for each other.
Wow, that sounds amazing. Really purposeful use of English.
Totally. It gives learning a real context beyond the classroom walls.
Okay, cameras. Another nice to have. How can they be used?
Well, beyond just taking snapshots, think about students documenting a process like a science experiment they did in English, or creating photo essays about their school or neighborhood, narrated in English.
Or even filming short plays or dialogues they've written.
Exactly. Students often love using cameras, even just their phones. and it gets them producing language in a creative, engaging way.
No, the tech stuff, interactive whiteboards or IWBs, if you're lucky enough to have one.
Yeah, they're basically a computer, projector, and touchscreen all in one. Super dynamic. They let you manipulate digital content directly, drag and drop things right over websites or documents.
And there's special software for them, too.
Often, yes. Lots of educational publishers create IWB-specific materials. They really facilitate interactive, collaborative activities at the front of the class.
Okay. Briefly, portfolios. You mentioned the European language portfolio.
Right, the ELP is one example. It's basically a way for students to collect evidence of their language learning journey certificates, examples of work, reflections. It encourages self-assessment and helps them track their progress over time.
Got it. And finally, the big one. The internet in the classroom.
Yeah, the internet's role is shifting, isn't it? From just being a place to find information to being a platform for interaction and creation.
Which brings us to social media. Always a bit tricky with teens.
Definitely tricky. You've got age restrictions, privacy concerns, online safety. It's absolutely critical to teach digital literacy alongside any use of these tools.
What do you mean by digital literacy exactly?
Understanding things like reliable sources, intellectual property, respectful online communication, protecting personal information. Basically, how to navigate the digital world safely and effectively.
Right. So if those risks are managed and literacy is taught, how could platforms be used?
Well, maybe using X, formerly Twitter, for very short collaborative stories, a private Facebook group for sharing project work, Instagram or TikTok for short video assignments, maybe LinkedIn for older students exploring career paths, but always within strict guidelines and with safety first.
Okay. And blogs.
Blogs can be great too. A school blog, an English department blog, even a class blog. It can be a place to share resources, showcase student writing or projects, post updates. Very versatile.
And the last piece of the puzzle, learning management systems, or LMS, like Moodle, or maybe a school's own intranet.
Yeah, these platforms essentially create a dedicated online space for learning. They connect teachers, students, even parents. You can post assignments, share resources, track grades, host discussion forums. It facilitates e-learning and creates a blended environment, extending learning beyond the classroom hours.
Wow. Okay, that's a lot of ground covered. From the humble whiteboard right up to complex online platforms.
It really shows the sheer range of tools available, doesn't it? Each with its own potential role.
So that's been our deep dive into EFL teaching materials and resources. We've explored the vast array of options, and I hope really hammered home the idea that it's about smart selection, creative use, and understanding why you're using each tool.
Absolutely. Effective teaching isn't about owning the most gadgets or worksheets. It's about how skillfully and thoughtfully you use the resources you do have.
So as you think about everything we've discussed today, here's a little challenge, a final thought to mull over. Given all these possibilities, how might you combine just one essential, maybe one complementary, and perhaps one nice-to-have resource? How could you weave them together to create a single, really memorable learning experience? Something that truly motivates your students, maybe even goes beyond just teaching the language itself?
That's a great question to ponder.
Definitely something to think about. We'll leave you with that. Until next time.